The first whispers didn't come from the press. They came from within the palace itself, where a seemingly minor dispute over royal protocol suddenly escalated into one of the most sensitive debates of King Charles's reign. Reports began circulating that Princess Anne had quietly intervened to prevent Queen Camilla from using a deeply personal title once associated with Queen Elizabeth II. At first it sounded impossible. Then more details emerged, and what appeared to be a simple disagreement quickly evolved into a battle over legacy, symbolism, and the future identity of the crown. Before we go deeper into what this really means for the royal family, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single update. What made the rumours so explosive was not simply the suggestion of disagreement between two senior royals. The monarchy has survived countless internal disputes throughout its long history. What made this situation different was the name attached to it. Queen Elizabeth II was not merely a former monarch. For millions, she represented continuity, stability, and an era that seemed almost impossible to replace. Any discussion involving symbols closely connected to her legacy was always destined to attract extraordinary attention. According to growing speculation, the controversy began when discussions emerged surrounding the greater use of a title that many royal observers strongly associated with Elizabeth's personal legacy. At first, few people paid much attention. Palace protocol is often complicated, and adjustments to titles or styles rarely capture widespread interest. Yet insiders reportedly suggested that concerns were raised almost immediately. What appeared routine on the surface quickly became something far more significant behind closed doors. That was when Princess Anne's name reportedly entered the conversation. Throughout decades of royal service, Anne has earned a reputation for consistency, discipline, and an unwavering commitment to institutional tradition. She has rarely sought the spotlight, but when questions involving royal precedent arise, her opinions are often difficult to ignore. Reports suggest that Anne privately expressed concerns regarding the broader implications of the proposed change. To some, it was merely a matter of protocol. To others, it represented a line that should not be crossed. As word of those concerns spread through senior royal circles, palace officials reportedly found themselves drawn into confidential discussions. Advisors, administrators, and constitutional experts were said to be examining historical precedents and reviewing the significance attached to certain royal distinctions. The deeper they looked, the more complicated the situation appeared. What initially seemed like a simple question increasingly evolved into a debate about symbolism, continuity, and the stewardship of royal history. Questions soon emerged regarding how traditions should be preserved in a monarchy that must constantly balance continuity with change. Supporters of modernization reportedly argued that institutions must evolve to remain relevant. Traditionalists countered that some symbols carry unique historical weight and should remain closely connected to the figures who defined them. Neither side appeared willing to surrender its position easily. Caught in the middle of the growing debate was King Charles himself. The issue reportedly placed him in an increasingly difficult position. On one side stood his wife. On the other stood concerns about tradition, precedent, and the enduring legacy of his late mother. Every possible outcome carried consequences. Every decision risked disappointing someone. Meanwhile, media speculation intensified. Journalists, commentators, and royal watchers searched for clues, while insiders hinted that tensions were becoming harder to contain. The more attention the story received, the clearer it became that this was never simply a disagreement about words or titles. But this dispute was never truly about a title. It was about who had the authority to define the legacy of a queen whose influence still shaped the monarchy long after her passing. Long before the controversy erupted, Queen Elizabeth II had become more than a monarch. She had become a symbol of continuity itself. Her titles, traditions, and carefully preserved legacy carried extraordinary meaning both inside and outside palace walls. That is why reports of a challenge involving one of her most personal royal associations immediately struck a nerve among those tasked with protecting the institution she spent 7 decades serving. To understand why the debate became so emotionally charged, it is necessary to understand the unique place Queen Elizabeth occupied in modern royal history. For generations, she represented consistency during periods of uncertainty, calm during moments of crisis, and stability during times of profound change. Her reign stretched across decades that transformed Britain and the wider world, yet she remained the one constant figure connecting the past to the present. That enduring presence turned many aspects of her role into something larger than protocol. They became symbols deeply woven into the public consciousness. As a result, certain traditions associated with Elizabeth acquired a significance that extended far beyond official documents or ceremonial language. They carried emotional weight. They reflected memories, values, and a sense of continuity that many people believed should be preserved with exceptional care. This is why reports surrounding the title controversy generated such intense reactions. To some observers, the issue appeared administrative. To others, it touched something far more personal, the preservation of a legacy that had come to define an era. Public reverence for the late Queen only amplified those feelings. Even after her passing, her influence continued to shape discussions surrounding the monarchy's future. Her example remained the standard against which many royal decisions were measured. Every debate about tradition inevitably returned to the same question: what would best honor the institution she dedicated her life to protecting? That question carried enormous significance because there was rarely a single answer. Within royal circles, those differing perspectives reportedly created divisions. Some believed traditions must evolve to reflect changing realities and modern expectations. Others argued that certain historical associations should remain untouched because they represented unique chapters in royal history. Neither side viewed itself as acting against the monarchy's interests. Instead, both claimed to be defending its future through different approaches. Yet that only made the disagreement more difficult to resolve. It was within this environment that Princess Anne's role reportedly became increasingly important. Throughout her public life, Anne has often been viewed as one of the strongest defenders of continuity within the royal family. Her reputation was built not through public declarations, but through decades of disciplined service and respect for institutional principles. According to growing reports, those qualities positioned her as a powerful voice during discussions surrounding her mother's legacy. For many observers, Anne's reported intervention was not surprising. She had spent much of her life alongside Queen Elizabeth, witnessing firsthand the sacrifices, responsibilities, and traditions that defined the late monarch's reign. Because of that history, some insiders believed Anne viewed herself as carrying a responsibility to protect certain aspects of her mother's legacy from reinterpretation or dilution. As the debate continued, the broader question became increasingly difficult to ignore. Was the monarchy best served by adapting long-established symbols to changing circumstances, or by preserving them exactly as they had been inherited? The answer remained elusive. Yet with emotions growing stronger and opinions becoming more deeply entrenched, it was clear that the controversy was entering a new phase. As emotions surrounding Elizabeth's legacy intensified, attention shifted toward the role Princess Anne had quietly assumed behind the scenes. For decades, Princess Anne built a reputation for avoiding unnecessary drama, yet those who understood the inner workings of the monarchy knew something else about her. When institutional principles were at stake, she rarely backed away from confrontation. Reports suggest that as concerns surrounding the title gained momentum, Anne became one of the strongest voices urging caution, arguing that some royal distinctions carried responsibilities that extended far beyond the present moment. What made Anne's reported involvement so significant was the credibility she had built over a lifetime of service. Unlike figures who attracted constant media attention, Anne had cultivated influence through consistency. Year after year, she carried out royal duties with little interest in publicity and even less interest in palace politics. That reputation transformed her into something rare within the institution, a figure whose motives were often viewed through the lens of duty rather than personal ambition. As a result, when reports emerged suggesting that she had raised concerns about the title controversy, Many insiders immediately took notice. Those familiar with the monarchy's internal culture understood why her perspective carried such weight. Anne has long been regarded as one of the strongest defenders of institutional continuity. She witnessed firsthand the challenges her mother faced throughout an extraordinary reign. She observed how traditions evolved, how precedents were established, and how seemingly minor decisions sometimes created consequences that lasted for generations. According to reports, those experiences shaped her belief that certain distinctions should be approached with exceptional care. As concerns surrounding the issue intensified, private consultations were reportedly held among senior royals and trusted advisors. While details remained closely guarded, speculation suggested that the discussions extended well beyond a single title. Participants were said to be examining larger questions concerning precedent, symbolism, and the long-term implications of altering traditions deeply associated with Queen Elizabeth's legacy. The deeper those conversations went, the clearer it became that this was not merely a dispute about language. It was a debate about identity. Questions regarding historical precedent quickly moved to the forefront. If one exception were made today, what expectations might emerge tomorrow? If long-established distinctions could be reinterpreted, where should future boundaries be drawn? These were the kinds of concerns reportedly raised during consultations. None of the questions carried easy answers, yet they reflected a growing awareness that decisions made in the present would inevitably shape future generations of the monarchy. At the same time, advisors were reportedly evaluating how the public might respond. Public trust has always been one of the institution's most valuable assets. Royal households understand that symbolism often carries as much importance as substance. What officials viewed as an internal matter could easily become a broader public conversation. Because of that reality, every possible outcome was reportedly examined not only for its constitutional implications, but also for its effect on public perception. Gradually, the debate evolved into something much larger than anyone initially expected. What began as a discussion involving a title transformed into a broader examination of royal identity itself. Should the monarchy prioritize adaptation to changing times, or should it focus on preserving the traditions that had sustained it for generations? Could both goals coexist without conflict? These questions lingered over every discussion, creating an atmosphere of growing uncertainty. Meanwhile, Anne's reported role continued to attract attention. To supporters, she was defending principles that transcended personalities. To critics, she represented resistance to change. Yet, regardless of perspective, few doubted that her influence had become a central factor in shaping the conversation. Yet the more officials examined the issue, the more they discovered that the disagreement reached far beyond tradition alone. What began as a private concern soon developed into a deeper division regarding the monarchy's future direction. Some believed the institution needed flexibility to evolve with changing times. Others argued that certain boundaries existed for a reason and should remain untouched. As discussions continued, the question of a title became a symbol of a much larger struggle unfolding behind palace walls. By this stage, the controversy had moved far beyond the original issue that sparked it. The debate was no longer centered on a specific title or a single royal figure. Instead, it had become a reflection of two competing visions for the future of the monarchy. On one side were those who believed the institution must continue adapting to modern expectations in order to remain relevant in an increasingly changing world. On the other side stood those who viewed continuity as the monarchy's greatest strength, arguing that its authority depended upon preserving the traditions that had guided it through generations of challenge and transformation. As discussions intensified, reports suggested that supporters of Queen Camilla quietly advocated for greater recognition of her role within the institution. They reportedly pointed to years of public service, increasing responsibilities, and her position beside the king during some of the most demanding periods of his reign. From their perspective, evolving royal traditions could be viewed as a natural reflection of changing circumstances rather than a break from the past. They believed adaptation was not necessarily a threat to continuity, but could instead represent its survival. Yet others reportedly saw the situation very differently. Traditionalists within royal circles remained concerned about the broader implications of altering long-established associations tied to Queen Elizabeth's legacy. To them, certain distinctions carried unique historical significance. Once those boundaries were adjusted, they argued, future generations might find it increasingly difficult to determine where tradition ended and reinterpretation began. What appeared to be a small change today could create a precedent with consequences extending far into the future. As both sides strengthened their positions, the discussion reportedly drew Prince William into broader conversations regarding the monarchy's long-term direction. As heir to the throne, William's future responsibilities meant that decisions made today could eventually shape the institution he would one day inherit. According to insiders, that reality added another layer of importance to the ongoing debate. Every argument concerning legacy, symbolism, and public trust inevitably pointed toward the future reign that awaited him. Meanwhile, senior courtiers reportedly found themselves increasingly divided. Some favored cautious modernization, believing the monarchy must demonstrate its ability to evolve alongside society. Others urged restraint, warning that public confidence often rests upon stability and consistency rather than rapid change. The result was an atmosphere filled with uncertainty. Behind every recommendation stood competing interpretations of what would best protect the institution's future. Throughout it all, public perception remained a dominant concern. Palace advisors reportedly understood that symbolism carries enormous weight within the monarchy. What might appear to insiders as a procedural matter could be interpreted very differently by the public. Every decision would be examined, debated, and compared against the standards established by previous generations. That reality ensured that even the smallest details received extraordinary scrutiny. The deeper the discussions went, the clearer it became that the controversy had evolved into something much larger than anyone initially anticipated. It was no longer merely about preserving the past or embracing the future. It was about determining how those two forces could coexist within an institution built upon both history and adaptation. And as opinions hardened on every side, one figure found himself standing directly between those competing visions. Caught between competing viewpoints was a king facing one of the most delicate balancing acts of his reign. Every major royal controversy eventually arrives at the sovereign's desk. For King Charles, the challenge was especially personal. The debate involved his wife, his sister, and the legacy of his late mother, all while he continued navigating the immense responsibilities of the crown. According to insiders, the pressure surrounding the decision grew with every passing day, transforming a protocol dispute into a test of leadership itself. By the time the controversy reached its climax, it had become clear that the issue was never solely about what title could or could not be used. It was about legacy, stewardship, and the responsibility of preserving the institution through periods of change. Whatever conclusions emerged from the palace, the debate had already exposed the deeper questions shaping the monarchy's future. For King Charles, the challenge extended far beyond protocol. Every path carried risks. Every decision touched relationships that had been shaped over a lifetime. On one side stood Queen Camilla, whose role within the monarchy had steadily evolved over the years. On the other stood Princess Anne, a figure widely respected for her commitment to continuity and institutional tradition. Looming over both was the enduring legacy of Queen Elizabeth II, whose influence remained impossible to separate from the discussion itself. As reports of private consultations intensified, pressure reportedly mounted from every direction. Advisors examined potential precedents. Royal commentators debated possible outcomes. Public interest continued to grow. What had begun as a quiet disagreement now appeared to symbolize a larger struggle over how the monarchy should navigate the future while honoring the past. The deeper the discussions went, the more apparent it became that the final decision would carry significance far beyond a single title. Throughout the process, Concerns regarding long-term stability reportedly became the overriding priority. The palace understood that public trust remained one of its most valuable assets. Any outcome would need to reinforce confidence in the institution while preserving unity during a period of transition. At the same time, both Prince William and Princess Anne reportedly emerged as increasingly influential voices in conversations surrounding the monarchy's future direction, reflecting a growing focus on continuity and succession. Yet, regardless of where individual loyalties rested, one reality became impossible to ignore. The controversy had evolved into a defining moment. It highlighted the difficult balance between adaptation and preservation. It underscored the challenges of leadership during periods of change. And it demonstrated how even seemingly small questions can reveal much larger concerns about identity, responsibility, and legacy. In the end, many observers believed the lasting impact of the debate would not be measured by the outcome itself, but by what it revealed about the institution. Anne's reported intervention strengthened her reputation as a defender of tradition. Queen Elizabeth's legacy remained the central reference point throughout the discussion. William's future role appeared more important than ever. And above all, the monarchy's commitment to stability and public trust remained at the heart of every consideration. Because within the House of Windsor, the fiercest battles are rarely fought over power alone, they are fought over the meaning of legacy itself. In the aftermath of the controversy, attention turned toward a new reality emerging inside the monarchy. Influence was shifting, responsibilities were evolving, and the next generation of leadership was becoming increasingly visible. What many initially dismissed as a dispute over protocol now appeared to reveal deeper changes taking place within the institution itself. Years from now, historians may remember this episode as far more than a disagreement about royal protocol. They may see it as a defining moment in a broader struggle over continuity, identity, and stewardship. Because at its heart, this story was never about a title. It was about the enduring power of legacy and the people determined to protect it. As the immediate tensions began to fade, a larger picture started to emerge. The controversy had exposed underlying realities that were already reshaping the monarchy from within. The discussions surrounding tradition, symbolism, and institutional responsibility had highlighted an important truth. The crown was gradually entering a new era. While the debate itself may eventually fade from headlines, the questions it raised would continue influencing royal decision-making for years to come. One of the clearest outcomes was the growing recognition of Princess Anne's influence. Throughout the controversy, she was widely viewed as a figure committed to protecting continuity and preserving the principles she believed defined the institution. Her reported involvement reinforced a reputation built over decades of service and dedication. To many observers, Anne's role symbolized the enduring importance of experience, discipline, and duty during periods of uncertainty. At the same time, attention increasingly focused on Prince William and the future responsibilities awaiting him. The discussions surrounding the controversy repeatedly pointed toward the next generation of leadership. Every debate about tradition and adaptation ultimately led back to the question of what kind of monarchy future heirs would inherit. William's growing prominence reflected not only his position as heir, but also the institution's increasing focus on long-term stability and succession planning. Throughout it all, Queen Elizabeth II's legacy remained the central thread connecting every aspect of the story. Even after her reign, her influence continued shaping conversations about identity, stewardship, and public service. The values associated with her decades on the throne remained powerful reference points whenever difficult decisions emerged. In many ways, the debate demonstrated just how deeply her legacy remained woven into the monarchy's foundations. King Charles, meanwhile, found himself navigating competing responsibilities with remarkable care. Balancing family relationships, institutional expectations, and public scrutiny was never going to be simple. Yet the broader objective remained clear: preserving unity while ensuring the monarchy remained strong enough to face future challenges. That goal guided discussions from beginning to end. Perhaps most importantly, the controversy reinforced the importance of public trust. Titles, traditions, and protocols all matter, but they ultimately serve a larger purpose. The monarchy's greatest strength has always been the confidence placed in it by those who believe in its role and continuity. Protecting that trust remains essential to the institution's future. And as these changes continued to unfold, one final reality became impossible to ignore. Legacy had ultimately prevailed over personal ambition. Continuity had remained at the heart of the conversation, and the monarchy had once again demonstrated its ability to navigate difficult moments while preparing for what comes next. And in the end, the title mattered far less than the principle. It represented a reminder that some royal legacies are considered too important to be rewritten. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will see you in next one.